Welcome back to training, Desmos calculator training for the Georgia Milestones Algebra 1 end of course exam. This is Test Prep Central. If you have not already listened to or watched the prior videos, there are 3 videos already in this series. And so we're continuing on with our training right here where it says Online Tools Training. To get to this page, go down to the show notes and get the link and click on it and join me. Click here to begin, and then click Study Guide for Students and Parents. Then click Algebra Concepts and Connections. Once this is loaded, continue, click on Online Study Guide, and click through this tutorial. So if you've watched the other videos, we have to do this each and every time. It would be kind of nice if they let us bypass our tutorial once we've done it. All right, begin the test. Now, today we're going to jump all the way to question number 15. So here where it says question 1, go ahead and go down to 15. And then we will begin. So we're given the area of 2 triangles is represented by an expression, and we're looking for another expression that represents the total area of the 2 rectangles, not triangles. So all we have to do really is type in the original expression and then find one of these that matches it, and we'll use the graph to do it. So click on the tool, graphing tool in the toolbar, and let's move this all the way over here. And on the first row, let's type the first expression. On the second row, and you might want to pull this out so you can make sure you got it all, x times 3x plus 1 plus 2x times x plus 3. Now, which expression represents the total area of the rectangles? Well, basically, it should look just like this parabola when I type the answer. So we'll start with 7x squared. That's 7x, shift 6 and 2, and that is not the same. So let's change it to 6x squared. We're on answer choice B now, plus 6x. That one is not the same, but it's close. Change this 6 to a 7. That's answer choice C. Even closer, and then finally change that first 6 to a 5, and it's exactly right. You can see the blue is right on top of the red. If you'll turn off the blue by clicking this button, you'll see the red underneath. So choose answer choice D. Now on each of these screens, you will want to close your graph so that you can click here and see the question numbers. We are going to go to question 16 next. For question number 16, we are given a trinomial, and we're looking for 2 binomials to multiply together to get the exact same functions. So if you will, go ahead and click on the graphing tool. Let's move it over, and we'll type in the trinomial on the first row. You may be surprised that this is producing a graph when you don't have but one variable. But what Desmos will do when you type anything with an x in it, it will assume it's a function of x, like f of x equals, and it will go ahead and graph it. So that's why this works. Now in the second row, we're going to have to come up with 2 of these expressions to put in here. Now one of the clues is you do have a 3 in the front. So that 3 in the front is probably important. So let's just pick one. I'll say 3x plus 5. And then when I type 3x plus 5, it should intersect one of these x-intercepts. It doesn't. So I'm not going to use 3x plus 5. Let's try 3x minus 5. And that one does intersect one of the x-intercepts. So I'm going to keep that binomial. And then I need the other one. Well, I see a minus 1 here. So let's try the x minus 1. And it doesn't work. Well, the other one with a 1 is x plus 1. So let's change this to a plus 1. And look at that. You now have a parabola that's sitting right on top of that red one. If you'll click the blue button again, you'll see it underneath. This is the 2 correct binomials. So we'll grab one of them. I'll do the 3x minus 5 and put it here. It doesn't seem to matter the order because it doesn't say anything about that in the instructions. So I'm just going to put them in here. And we do know multiplication is commutative, so we could switch the order and it would be fine. So those are our two binomials. Let's move on to the next item. We are now on item 17, and we're going to use the same strategy. So click the button that says Graphing Tool, and let's move it over. We're going to type the original expression in the first row, so x squared minus 16x plus 49, and then we're going to type our answer choices on the next row. So let's start with answer choice A, x minus 7 squared. And it is not the same. Now I can barely see this, so I'm going to click on the graph and I'm going to drag it to the left. That's another way to adjust your window, is just to click and drag and pull the graph in the direction that you want it to go. So let's change this minus 7 to a minus 8. We're now checking answer choice B. It is definitely not the same. So answer choice C has the minus 15 at the end, and that one works. If you turn off the blue, you'll see the red underneath, and this answer choice C was correct. So choose C. Let's close our graph, and let's go to the next item. We are now on question number 19. And we are going to use our graphing tool again. Again, each time we're using the Desmos graphing calculator to do the problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is type g of x equals, and I'm going to type in the function as it appears at the top. So far, every item today has been quadratics, and that is a big topic on this test. And so now I have my parabola. So we're going to go ahead and rewrite the function in a new form. So we're going to do g of x equals. So the first number we need is the number in front of the parentheses, and we have three choices. We can put a positive 2, a negative 1, a positive 1, and a 2. So I'm going to just start with the negative 2 simply because there was a negative 2 in the original function. And then we're going to do x, and then we need to do plus or minus something. So let's see. Let's do minus 4. We'll just do the first ones on all these. And then we'll do shift 6, and we'll square it. And then the last one, let's go ahead and do the first one, which is minus 7. All right, so first of all, I'm pretty close. If you click here, you'll see the 4 and the negative 7. But if you click on the red one, which is the one we're going for, I see the 1 and the negative 5. So it looks like the negative 2 is good because it matches the negative 2 in the original, and because it has something to do with the steepness or how skinny the parabola looks. So that one we're not going to change. So really all we have to do is focus on the h and the k. So let's go back here. We chose negative 4. Let's try negative 2. That's better, but I think we need to move it further. So let's try negative 1. And look at that. It's lined up perfectly with that parabola above it. See, negative 1, negative 1. Now this number at the end, we did negative 7. Let's change it to the negative 5 and see what we get. And that one works. So let's turn it off, make sure it's under there. The A was going to be our negative 2, so let's choose negative 2. The number for minus h, we put in minus 1. And then this number here, we put a minus 5. All right, so then we have to answer this question. The blank value of g of x is blank. All right, well, let's look. The maximum or the minimum? Well, there is no minimum. If you pull this thing up like this thing goes down forever. So it's all the way down at negative 35, and it's going to keep going. So it actually only has a maximum, and it's right here. So choose the word maximum, and the value is always the y-coordinate, not the x. The x is the location of the y-coordinate, but the value is always the y-coordinate. So we're going to choose the negative 5. That is the highest y value on this graph. If you were to drag along the graph, you'll see all these numbers are smaller than negative 5. The last item we're going to look at today is item 20. So this time we're given a function and we're looking for the average rate of change in the table between negative 1 and positive 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is open the graphing calculator. You really don't have to recreate this table, but I'm going to do it anyway because I just want to show you how to do that if you haven't already done it. Let's click on table and let's recreate -1, 0, 1, 3, and then the y will be 5, 1, -1, 1. And then if you click this little plus sign here at the bottom left, it says zoom fit. It will fit your data to your graph and you'll be able to see all the points that are here. Now the thing about this is we're really only concerned about 2 of these points. And so I'm going to unhighlight a couple of these. I want to go where x is -1. Well, x is -1 for this first point. So let's click here. And x is +1, so that would be here. So the average rate of change between x equals -1 and x equals +1 is actually the slope. It sounds like average means add together and divide by 2, but it doesn't. It means slope in algebra. So what we're going to do is we're going to subtract the y coordinates and we're going to put that on top. Let me see. I think I'll go ahead and label these two. Let me just do that. It makes it a little easier. So let's go ahead and put these in separate. -1, 5, and I'm going to label it like that. And it'll show up really well. All right, the other one was at +1, -1. So 1, -1. And let's label that one. Now we're going to do the slope. So if you remember, you want the change in y divided by the change in x. You may know another formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And right here under reference, I'm pretty sure that one's on this sheet. So let's look at it for a minute. The slope formula is right here. Subtract your y's. So you're going to subtract the 5 and the -1, and then subtract your x's, and you're going to subtract these numbers. Now, they always do the second one first, but technically it doesn't matter. But I'll go ahead and follow their way of doing it. So we're going to take -1 minus 5. So let's do this. I'm going to go down here to the keyboard, and I'm going to do a divide. So let's click here. Now, why would I do that? So that I'll have a fraction to start. So we'll take our -1 and subtract the 5 on the top, and we'll take our +1 and subtract our -1 on the bottom. And so now you should see the slope is -3. So let's make sure we did it right. We went from x equals -1, that's -1, 5, to x equals +1, that's 1, -1. The change in y, it went down 6, and that makes sense, and the x's went up 2. So 6, -6 divided by 2 is -3. So the correct answer was C. That concludes our training today for GMAS, Georgia Milestones Assessment System for Algebra 1. We do have another video coming soon, so stay tuned. There will be one more video in this series, and there will be a practice set of items available as well for this series. So hopefully you've learned something today. Be sure to check out the other 3 videos if you haven't done it already, and tune into technomath.com for more test prep materials and suggestions. Y'all have a great day.